What's up everybody, my name's Big Cam and welcome back to another trailer breakdown in reaction, because today, or technically yesterday, the X-Men 97 Season 2 trailer dropped. But today we shall be breaking this down and going through it shot by shot to see what we noticed. And I was struggling to remember. I was like, how did Season 1 end? And then watching this trailer, some memories just flooded back. I was like, oh no, not Rami. Oh, mon cher, remember it. The name's Gambit. Remember me, you know, or whatever he says. But like, oh man, what a good series, and it ended in such a crazy way. And this trailer is showing where the X-Men is at after that crazy ending of Season 1. And it looks like Season 2 is going to be coming July 1st. But let's not waste any more time, y'all. Let's jump right on into this trailer and start picking out what we notice.
It's hard to believe what's not waiting for me. Someone I lost. Someone special.
Oh, that fucking boom, 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 right? Like it goes throughout this trailer. It's giving me chills. Oh goodness, the score, right? Like you guys, if you know me from the channel, the score goes a long way for me. But just at the beginning of this little clip here, like we see a shot of some X-Men, I think in the future or in the past, but there seems to be like this rock formation that has like a laser beam shot through it, and they have the Disney Plus logo inside of it. But we see, you know, the people that are sitting on this rock with Nightcrawler and Rogue, and she's talking and she's like, you know, it's hard to think that I ain't got somebody waiting for me. And we see shots of Gambit, so she's, you know, really embracing the fact that her love is really gone and that he's not going to be back for her, you know what I mean? Although there is some of his voice in this trailer, so maybe Gambit's not dead. Maybe he's just like in Valhalla or something and he's trying to make his way back. But we see shots of Rogue grabbing the Queen's card and like looking at it, and it's a little burnt, and she's like, this is the last thing that Gambit had, you know, and the Queen card is her, you know, she was his queen, you know what I mean, and that's all he ever wanted. And we see him all ripped on the basketball court kissing her and wanting to kiss her, but her having to put her hand over his mouth to kiss it because her powers would have drained him. You know, it wasn't like Magneto or Wolverine, you know what I mean, where like they could handle it. Man, poor Remy, man. Remy the GOAT. Ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself. Not quite Channing Tatum's Gambit, but Gambit's still a badass character. But then we see that, you know, she's just got her hands over the fire as she closes her eyes, and then we cut to the Marvel Animation title card with that sick fucking bum, 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 bum. But on to this next portion of the trailer.
X-Men are scattered through time. In the past, from the start of Apocalypse's reign, to the future at the height of his rule.
The X-Men. I must strike them at their most vulnerable. The 1990s.
I mean, I know it was serious, but like, the X-Men, I gotta get them at their most vulnerable. The 90s. Like, not like, oh, after they got split up, oh, after Gambit died, after this. No, the 90s. We're going back, baby. Woo! Fuck 2026, we're going back to the 90s. Rock on! Although it's like late 90s, isn't it 97? So now technically this would be like 98 or something. I don't know. We're going back to the 90s, folks. But yeah, that amazing freaking boom, 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 boom. Right, like as it just keeps getting like deeper and deeper as we see shots of Gambit riding the back of Wolverine from the first season, but we see shots of Magneto, and we hear them being like, the X-Men are scattered across the past and the future. So they're at the start of Apocalypse's reign, if you would, you know, like the start of him becoming Apocalypse. So we're gonna see a younger Absinoner, or whatever the fuck his name is and however you pronounce it, but we do see shots of him pulling over his little friggin' balaclava over his face, and we see him in Egypt, you know, wielding like a friggin' sickle or whatever that sword is. But yeah, then we see shots of like the, you know, his world from the past cutting to the future, and it looks even more devastating in the future, but there's all these people around, and like, yeah, I don't know if those are bodies or if those are people worshiping him, but you know, then Cyclops, and it looks like a young Cable and Jean maybe, and some other Rough Riders are on top of like an ox, and they're like looking at the future apocalypse as like this big explosion goes off in the distance. And you know, then we see our two teams of X-Men, you know, it's like Bishop, Beast, Professor X, Rogue, and Nightcrawler and Magneto are all together, and it looks like they've been there a little while because Magneto's got a big old beard now. And then we just see a tight shot of Apocalypse's eyes as they cut in, and he scrunches his nose, and we see the big old future version of Apocalypse being like, I need to take them at their weakest. The 90s! As like, I think that's Rogue with green hair maybe, or maybe that's somebody else that we haven't met necessarily. Maybe it's the woman who's reaching for the Iceman picture, so maybe this is a different character that wasn't in season 1. But it seems like in the picture frames, she's friends with Jean and Storm, so she had to have been around and been a homie, you know what I mean? But it looks like she's got flying powers, this green person with green hair. I don't necessarily know any of the OG X-Men, because that's like a photo frame of like the original X-Men in their original costumes, and that could be Beast, Jean, Angel, Iceman, Cyclops, and then I don't know who that last one would be. Anybody that knows who this green-haired bitch is, let me know. But on to the next portion of this trailer.
Jeez, could have at least bought me a drink first.
X-Men back to the 90s.
You fight a battle that cannot be won against the dawn of an age that cannot be stopped.
This isn't just about us. It's about everyone we've lost.
Oh, poor Jubilee at the end of that clip. What's happening to her? My goodness, what is she crying over? But I don't know, after season 1, it seems like they're going to be losing even more people in season 2, as we hear like a voice saying, you fight a battle that cannot be won. And Rogue at the end of that being like, this is about all the people we've lost, you know? And oh, just a wild set of friggin' clips there. But we start with more from Wolverine. And last time we saw Wolverine, he was really badly hurt, right? So is this Wolverine back to normal? Or maybe this is a flashback? I don't know. But he is in his brown and tan suit still. And he's with Morph. And Morph's like, you could have bought me a drink first. And you know Wolverine's gonna have some type of quippy line back to that. I only drink scotch, boy, or something. I don't know. Get me a stogie. But then we see Jean using her powers and using it to form her own Wolverine claws, as Cyclops then laser beams them and sends his laser beam in different directions. Pretty cool shot. But on July 1st, we see then shots of, I think that might be either Roberto da Costa, or that could be maybe Nightcrawler, but either way, throwing Jubilee, and then she uses her like little fireworks powers as she punches somebody. But on June 1st, the X-Men return, as we then see shots of Bishop being cool and shooting his gun, and then it looks like Nightcrawler coming in and kicking somebody as the X-Men return in an all-new season. Oh man, as Bishop and I think, what is his name? Forge, maybe? I think I got that right. Forge was with Storm at the end of the last season, I think, or you know, maybe talking to her, but was helping her recover from her wounds. I don't know. Either way, getting her powers back. Yeah, it's all coming back to me. Season 1. I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch season 1 before June 1st, but I got a little bit of time now. But Bishop's like, we have to get back the X-Men. And only on Disney Plus, as we then see, I think that is Rogue, maybe? Or maybe that's Storm and somebody else with Cable, a young Cable, because of that metal arm, maybe? And that's how they're like traveling back to the past. And then we cut to shots of Cable in the future in like a big old war going on. And I think that's like a Sentinel or some robot flying by him. And then we see shots of Storm being a storm up in space. Omega level threat. Fucking damn, I love Storm. But then we see a shot of like the last season with that giant beetle destroying Genosha. I think I'm almost correct with that. But then like we see aftermath of the battle. Then we see shots of Colossus over a dead body, so he could be, you know, mourning somebody as well. But I don't necessarily remember Colossus in season 1, so maybe Colossus is somebody that's being added for season 2 in his comic book accurate outfit, so I gotta love that. But then we see, I think, a bunch of Sentinels lowering down on this building with a giant X on front. So is this like the new X mansion? It's more like X Tower. It like lights up yellow though as they're like going down to it. We then cut to shots of a dude with his eyes glowing like they're on fire or someone. I don't know who that is. And then we cut to like a mechanical being with their eyes glowing blue. Don't know who that is either. Maybe she was in season 1, but I'm not sure. But we then see Cable polishing his gun, and then seeing Mom and Dad in the mirror behind him. And then we see Rogue at the end of that clip being like, this isn't just about us, it's about the ones we've lost, as we then see shots of Jean and Scott hugging a young Cable, or a young Cable's hugging them. And then we see, you know, Jean and Scott again, and they look very sad and troubled. Maybe they're all disappointed. They're like, this isn't our future. This is a different future. We fucked up. We got to get back to the past. We got to get back to the 90s, you know, or whatever. But, you know, we see then just people walking into like a shrine with like a woman, or maybe, yeah, it looks like maybe a bunch of candles around and a bunch of people maybe dead. So this is like, yeah, like some type of shrine, some type of memoriam. As like Rogue looks up at it and she's like, you know, sad and looks very like she's almost about to be in tears. As we then cut to Jubilee and the people that she lost, and she's in tears, you know, as she like is crying, and we just see a reflection of like her hand against like maybe a car or something. So maybe this is like Roberto da Costa, who she was kind of with last season. Maybe he dies in this season. I don't know, but we got one more piece of this trailer left, so let's finish this bad boy out.
From the beginning of time to the reaches of tomorrow, we stand together right here, right now. I believe in the X-Men. We're back, baby.
Woo! We're back, baby. And he does the classic comic book, come here, bub. You know, oh God, I love Wolverine so much. But I think that shot at the end there might be right when he like comes back and he's like more of a feral Wolverine this season. Or maybe this is just later in the season. He's like, oh, we're back, baby. You thought the X-Men were done? We're back for you, Apocalypse. Come here. He's got green blood on his claws there, so, I mean, maybe he's hunting down a predator. I don't know. Who else has green blood? But, yeah, love that. The X-Men will be back, season 2, streaming July 1st, excuse me. But, my goodness, Marvel Animation really crushes it. And, like, that team-up shot at the end with, like, Nightcrawler being like, I believe in the X-Men. And it's like, then the score of the, like, you know, the OG X-Men 97 score starts to kick in, but they kind of keep it with this more serious, deeper oh my God, chills, so much chills, my goodness, I cannot wait for this. I didn't realize how much I loved the X-Men until I watched this show, you know, season 1, and like the season 1 just did the X-Men so much better, right? Like I was always an X-Men guy for the live action movies, but like I wasn't a fan of Jean Grey or Cyclops. I was a fan of Halle Berry Storm. I was a fan of, you know, Professor X with Patrick Stewart. I was a fan of Magneto because of Ian McKellen and them and how good they ate up those roles. But like Wolverine was my guy. I really loved Storm as well because of Halle Berry. But like Cyclops never got a chance to shine. We never really saw Jubilee. I mean, Bobby Drake, Iceman was kind of there, but not really. I mean, Kitty Pryde was, you know what I mean? Like there wasn't like really shining characters other than Wolverine in those original X-Men movies. And it was kind of not as utilized as much as they could have been. Where like the X-Men 97 show has shown us the family, made me love Rogue and Gambit, you know, made me love Nightcrawler even more, but like Morph, you know, like I love Morph now. I never would have thought I loved the character of Morph, but I do. But you know, at the start of that last piece of that trailer, we see that blue flash, and then we see maybe the X-Men drawn into hieroglyphs in ancient Egypt or something. I don't know, but that looks kind of crazy. I mean, who's in the middle hovering that all? Because obviously you got Professor X on the left, and then Beast and somebody else, and then you got Magneto, maybe Rogue and Nightcrawler on the other side. So like, who is this? Is this like the Knights of the Apocalypse or whatever? I don't know, man. I don't know, but this looks so sick. I mean, mixing my things of love, right, like superheroes, comics, animation, and then mixing it with like my love of Egypt and like how fascinating I find that shit. Like, oh my goodness, this is gonna be sick. But this has to be like maybe a prophecy on how they defeat Apocalypse, because then we see another shot of this like same type of room with Apocalypse sitting on his throne with a bunch of skulls around the base of it. Almost looks like that could be Thanos, but we know that this is a big, you know, big A on his belt buckle. This is probably Apocalypse. But then it looks like they're going back to Savage Lands, because we see a dinosaur, a freaking T-Rex, charging at somebody, and then we see Storm using her lightning and her black outfit. Oh, I love Storm so much. But then we see Morph, it looks like fighting some type of bug creature, and as he slides from one side to the other, he morphs into Deadpool. Hell yeah! So we got a little Deadpool in this season, even if it is just Morph, but that's... Morph is a sweet character for that reason. Anybody that you want in the show that's not, right, just because the character hasn't been introduced, you can introduce them through Morph. And now perfectly reasonable to think that Deadpool bumped into the X-Men and Morph is using his powers, right? Like, such a cool way to add characters to the X-Men that don't necessarily need to be there. Like, I think Morph was, you know, Mr. Fantastic in season 1. I think he could have been maybe Spider-Man. I could be pulling that one out my ass. But I think Morph, in that same type of idea, was other people in season 1. I think Reed Richards was one of them. But, you know, just a cool-ass character, and I love that we're going to be getting a Deadpool cameo in this. But then we cut to shots of Psylocke with her blade and her powers, and it looks like maybe Archangel behind her. Okay, so maybe some bad guys they're going to be facing. Maybe those are people that are with Apocalypse. As we then see Rogue and maybe Nightcrawler and Beast heading towards this, like, mouth that's glowing purple and, like, winds coming out of it. Is they're, like, walking into it. Weird. And it's like pushing them back, and then we cut to shots of Professor X using his mind powers, and then we cut to shots of that green woman who awfully looks like Odessa Azion, does she not? I don't know, maybe that's where the character model was for, but then we cut to shots of Beast, then we cut to shots of Magneto looking pissed. He's got a scar over his nose, scar over his eyebrow, he's got a beard, and he looks pissed. Oh man, I wouldn't want to piss off Magneto. Out of all the people, damn. But then we cut to a quick shot of Frost, Emma Frost, something mind person Frost. Correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong. But then we cut to shots of who I thought could have been Storm. Maybe this is Storm from a different universe, but maybe blonde hair, not white hair. So maybe this is a different character entirely, but I'm not sure. Then we cut to shots of Scott Summers' freaking Cyclops heating up his visor there as he's like standing across from Jean, and she's like using her powers maybe to stop his visor so that she can see his eyes one more time. I don't know. But then see shots of Rogue and Nightcrawler hugging each other. Two buddies. I love that. I love Nightcrawler, so hopefully he gets more to do. But then we see shots of who I'm just gonna call Odessa Zion, as her hair starts to glow and she's got like green lip gloss around her lips, and then she's got glowing green eyes. She almost looks like, what, fucking Shigo from Kim Possible? If you know, you know, if I got that name right. But she then, we cut to a wider shot of her like unleashing her powers, and it looks like there's some people around her, but maybe just some civilians, not necessarily X-Men. What's her deal? She does look badass though. She's got like these tight black pants, a big belt buckle, short, you know, crop top, showing off the stomach, showing off her ripped arms. I don't know who this character is, but she's like releasing fire with her green hair and her body, and she's got like this force field around her. I have no idea who Odessa Zion is, but she's sexy as hell. I love this character already, and I don't even know her name. But then we see, I think, Archangel throwing some of his wing blades at people. We then see another character with his sword, and he got like golden wings as he's fighting Nightcrawler in a sword fight, though, so that's interesting. As like he like chops the blade, and then it looks like maybe Nightcrawler like bamps away. Interesting. Or they like face to face lock blades. Then we cut to a shot of Cyclops using his psionic blast, and we cut to black. And Nightcrawler says that he believes in the X-Men, as we then get the sick team-up shot starting far left. We got Morph by the ship, then we got Cyclops, then Jean Grey, then we got Wolverine pulling out the claws, we got Storm above him, Forge behind her, Cable, Archangel's coming in, so maybe he's joining the team as well. Oh, I didn't have that on my bingo card. We got maybe Sunspot, Roberto da Costa, we got Jubilee, I think that's Psylocke back there as well, so maybe, yeah, maybe they are joining the team against Apocalypse. As they then cut to the title card, X-Men 97 Season 2, streaming July 1st, and then we got Wolverine. We're back, bub. What do you want to do? This place is on fire. My suit is ripped in half, but I'm a feral little fucking beast. Rah! Yeah. God, I love Wolverine so much. I love this trailer so much, right? Like, because it's animation. They can just pack so much into every frame. Like, live action does it too, but not in the way that animation does. Like a 30-minute animated episode can pack in an hour worth of stuff, where an hour-long episode is probably more like 50 minutes after the intro and the credits, and then there might be an ad or something in the middle. I don't know, man. I like the format of this X-Men 97 animated show and just how much they do, right? Like, think about season 1 and how much they were able to get done with that story and how much those characters did, right? We had, what, 3 X-Men movies in the original trilogy, then we had the newer stuff with, what, First Class, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, and then Dark Phoenix, and I might be missing one, but like, so we got, what, 8 X-Men movies? All of those movies didn't do nearly as much character development as one episode of X-Men 97 did, right? Like, or even just the whole season of X-Men 97 season 1 made me love these characters more than any of the live action stuff ever has. Now, granted, I still love Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, but like, when you really think about it, that's not what Wolverine is. Wolverine's a short king. Wolverine's a feral little monkey. You know, like, he's not a 6-foot handsome ripped dude. Well, he's still ripped, but you know, he's not 6 foot whatever Hugh Jackman is. Like, Hugh Jackman feels like a big boy, right? Like, and he because of how good he has played the role, he might have changed the character. So now the next time we see him, he might be more like a Henry Cavill and be big and jacked and huge and more like a Hugh Jackman rather than being the comic book action short king. If we are going to recast Wolverine into a short king, maybe a Taron Egerton, maybe that guy Matthew Wood, I think is his name, you know, something along the lines of that. He was in the Saturday Night movie, the movie about Saturday Night Live, and he was playing John Belushi. I don't know. I feel like he would be good if he got really ripped. I think Daniel Radcliffe would be good as well, but I don't know. Maybe a no-name, you know? Like, I also don't want them to recast Wolverine. Like, out of all people, they can start the X-Men with. They don't necessarily need to do Wolverine again. They can start focused on the other characters. For like, I almost want an X-Men trilogy, and then at like the end of the 3rd movie, they're out in the woods, and they're like, what's that noise? And you hear a feral little monkey named Wolverine, and they're like, hey, maybe we should knock him out and bring him back with us? I don't know. You know, like, that should be the introduction of the new Wolverine for me. It should be like they stumble across him. It shouldn't be like he's the star of the movie like the original X-Men movies. Also, apparently in Spider-Man Brand New Day, Sadie Sink's character might be the new Jean Grey. So if that's like the age we're going for this new X-Men lineup, that could be really interesting as well, you know? And who would you want to see around Sadie Sink if she is Jean Grey? Who would you want to see around her for the new live-action X-Men going forward after Doomsday and Secret Wars? But that's it for me, y'all. This has been a pretty sick trailer to break down, and I'm very excited to get into season 2, and breakdowns for that will be coming out in July, so stay tuned. And I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below about this trailer, or you can send me those thoughts to my other social medias, links down in the description below. But if you've made it this far into the video and you would like to support the channel further, the best way of doing that is dropping a like on this video, commenting down below, subscribing if you haven't already, and hit that bell so you don't miss future trailer breakdowns and reactions and future Marvel content, future X-Men content, and you'll get the notifications when those come out. Once again, my name's Big Cam. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you gorgeous folks in the next video. Peace!